Hi, I'm Mark. I'm the kitchen pro. What? Well, the means, you know, like not only the, it could be the kitchen pro, but the means I'm like the kitchen pro, like the most important guy that's the kitchen pro. Okay. Hi, I'm Mark. I'm the kitchen pro. Today I'm installing kitchen cabinets, getting ready to. So what we've done as of right now, we've obviously pulled the old kitchen apart, moved the electrical, patched the drywall, and got a coat of paint on all the walls. I always, some people don't do that, but I'm kind of a stickler for priming and painting the walls before the cabinets go up so that the drywall's sealed. Anyway, so the next step for me is what I do is I lay out, and I'll go through this a little later, is I lay out where the cabinets go, and I figure the height of the floor and the ceiling. And what I do is I have this laser level, and don't worry, I have it set to stun, but the laser level I'll set up, and it gives me a, I don't know if you can see it, a red line, a horizontal and a vertical red line, and I use the horizontal line to give me a reference point, and then I measure down to the floor in various spots to where I know where the highest spot of the floor is, and then from that reference line, once again, I measure to the ceiling at various spots to see where the lowest part of the ceiling is. So for instance, like the upper cabinets, I find out where the lowest part of the ceiling is, and then I start my cabinets as that so they could be all level. And same thing with the floor. I find the highest spot, then I level the cabinets to that. So when I designed the cabinets, my cabinet guy, he built them with what we call the toe kick, which is the bottom piece that's underneath the cabinet, detachable. So I'm going to take those off, set all the toe kicks out, level them up, get them all installed so I could just put the cabinet boxes on top of those, and everything should slide right on it, and it really makes it easy to level the cabinets when you do the toe kicks first. So the first thing I do at this point is to lay out where the studs are, especially where the cabinet's going to go. For instance, there's going to be an upper cabinet here and an upper cabinet there to the left and right of this window. So I'll figure out where, and I mark on the walls where the studs are. So when I need to put the cabinet up, I know exactly where the stud is, so I can mark it, drill the back of the cabinet, and then I can put my screws through the cabinet to hold it up. So I'm going to lay out for that. Also too, I usually, for the bottom cabinets, I'll lay out where all the cabinets go and make sure everything fits before I start installing anything. So that's what I'm going to start doing now, to start doing all the layouts and really doing a lot of head scratching and thinking everything through before I start with anything. That's the way I do it. So I'll take you through the process. So once again, obviously we have cabinets at this point. The next thing is to do the layout, then I'll show you how to do the installation. Okay, so I've laid out on the walls, and maybe it's kind of hard to see, but I found where the studs are back behind the drywall, and the way I do it is I don't really use a stud finder. Once again, I like the precision. So what I do is I'll find like a plug here, and I have a thin screwdriver you could use like an ice pick. And actually what I do is I go back in next to the plug, and I can feel if there's a stud back there or not. So if I go back this way, I can feel if there's a stud right next to that plastic electrical box. So then I transfer it up, I put a hole in here, and I could feel, if I move it over just right, I could feel the edge of the stud. So I know that there's a pencil line here. I know that pencil line is the edge of my stud. So when I go to layout to figure where to put the screws through the cabinet, I know exactly where my studs are. So that's the way I do it. So once again, I use the laser level. I don't have it on right now, but I had the laser level giving me a horizontal red line to use as a reference point. So from that, I measured up in various places and found that this right here is the lowest part of the ceiling. And so I'm going to start my cabinets at that point. So with that in mind, I measure down, and this is where the This is where the bottom of the upper cabinet's going to be. And then I did the same thing with the floor. I measured in various spots and found out that actually the highest spot of the kitchen is, the floor is way over here. So measuring up from the highest spot of the floor, I measured over and laid out to where I know where the cabinet's going to be, the subtop, and then the finished countertop. So that gives me, with those two calculations, I know that between here and here, that's going to be the space between the two cabinets, the upper cabinet and the lower cabinet. So I'm all pretty much laid out. I'm ready basically to start installing. I always start with the upper cabinets first because with the lower cabinets gone, it's easy to get right up in there and work with. If the lower cabinet's in first, then it's really hard to work over the top of it. So the next step is to start installing the upper cabinets.